Freeze. I'm Batman. Hello everybody and welcome back to another bad movie review. I haven't done one of these in like 2 months. Really wanted to do one. And I was sort of just sitting there at work today thinking, you know what, it's sort of the perfect time to do Batman and Robin. It sort of is, because the Batman's out and it's so popular, everyone's so into Batman, so am I. I'm absolutely in love with Batman at the minute. I rewatched the whole Dark Knight trilogy. I watched Batman 1989, Batman Returns, Batman 66, and even Zack Snyder's Justice League again, all in the space of the last month, because the Batman has got me on this massive kick where I'm like, I need to watch everything. So, sort of put 2 and 2 together and thought, right, it's finally time to talk about this movie. So, yeah, Batman and Robin. So I apologise to anyone who has watched this movie for a start. Anyone who's watched this movie, I do feel truly sorry for you. This is known to be like the most horrific Batman movie, I think. Joel Schumacher made Batman Forever. Now, I get that people who grew up with that don't mind that movie. I didn't grow up with it, so I'm not a big fan of it. I would actually say I dislike Batman Forever, but it's one of those films that I dislike, but it's like, it doesn't do anything to offend me. It's like, yeah, I'm just not a fan of it. It is what it is. It doesn't upset me or anything. It just exists. And then he comes to make the sequel, and he makes this atrocious piece of shit. Now, again, there is a weird group out there that like this movie. I wouldn't even say it's people who grew up with it, because I think people that did grow up with it still didn't like it, because the director has publicly apologised to people, so those who were excited to see his follow-up film for Batman Forever, he was sorry. It's a lot of the Adam West fans who love that cheesy, really stupid Batman, which I really don't like, because a lot of people look at this as a sequel to the Adam West style Batmans, which I kind of get, but it's just the worst possible version of Batman for me. We've seen so many, from kind of light-hearted to you're kind of marvelised with Ben Affleck's Batman, to now really dark and gritty with Robert Pattinson, and a really realistic one with Christian Bale. I think every other version of Batman is better than this super cheesy, stupid version of Batman. So Joel Schumacher went in completely the wrong direction with this movie for me, and I think a lot of people. Also, a thing which he really got wrong with this movie is he put the toys, the merchandise, before the movie itself. There's even a line in this movie where Poison Ivy is with Bane and she says,
"That's why every Poison Ivy action figure comes complete with him."
It's disgraceful from a filmmaking standpoint that everything in this movie is being made just to sell toys. These characters change costumes throughout the movie. You don't know when they're going to change costumes, because they'll be in a fight scene and then they'll run to get in their car and they're in another costume, because that costume's got a different cape, which means they can sell a different toy. They've all got their own vehicles. Why not? Because all of the vehicles have these stupid luminous lights on and they look ridiculous. Why? Because they'll make great toys for kids. Kids are going to want to buy them. And if all 3 of our heroes, Batman, Robin and Batgirl, all have their own cars, that's 3 cars we can sell, not just 1. So the movie has to cater for shit like that constantly. I get that sometimes filmmakers are put in difficult situations. They're told to do certain things. There's expectations, lists of things by, you know, Warner Brothers or whoever's making it. These are things you need to do. We need these things in our movie. And this happens a lot nowadays, especially with all these shared universes. But then it comes down to filmmaking itself, the style of this movie. Joel Schumacher got so much wrong here. Casting. The casting for this movie is abysmal. I guess we'll start with George Clooney, but we'll get to Arnie, guys. We'll get to Arnie. The way this movie opens, I'm just going to play it because, my God.
Let's dig the car.
This is why Superman works alone.
Yeah, that's how this movie opens. It's just so many zooms on bat butts and bat nipples and bat crotches, bat everything, and the dialogue is just abysmal. Like, you're telling me Superman exists in this universe as well? Where was Superman in Batman Forever? Where's Superman when Mr. Freeze is trying to freeze the entire Gotham, the entire planet at the end of the movie? Where's Superman? What's he doing? There's some shit going on here that could use his help. Chris O'Donnell is just so terrible in this movie as well. I just really don't like him in this role. His cocky arrogantness, the character isn't written well, and he isn't played well, and then Alfred, poor old Alfred. You know, I really feel sorry for Michael Gough, who playing Alfred, because, you know, he's been doing it for a few years, bless him. And he's given some terrible lines here, you know. Batman zooming off, and he's like, I guess I'll cancel the pizzas. And then it does this really weird close-up because the audience needs to know that he's sick. And honestly, it lingers on Alfred for like a solid 10 seconds, where the poor actor, you can tell all he's been given was just look sick. And he's like, oh, okay. And he's just probably gone like, oh, and it goes on for like 10 seconds. So we go to the fight scene where they're going to fight Mr. Freeze for the first time. It's our first encounter with Mr. Freeze. By the way, Jim Gordon comes over the bat radio as well. And it's like a video game thing or something from like the early 2000s, where it's like, Batman, there's a new villain in town, Mr. Freeze. But Batman goes like, Mr. Freeze. It's like, so you know him, Batman? It's like, I was so confused. It's actually hilarious how stupid it is. So anyway, yeah, we get to the fight. Fighting stuff happens. Batman and Robin, they've got ice skates attached on the bottom of their boots, and they're skating around fighting villains, and it is the most ridiculous thing I think I've ever seen. And then, of course, we got to talk about Arnie as Mr. Freeze. It's kind of iconic. It's kind of brilliant how awful he is in this movie. Some of his lines, you know, just unbelievable.
Tonight's forecast. A freeze is coming. Allow me to break the ice. You are not sending me to the cooler. Freeze well. What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age. Let's kick some ice.
Show some mercy.
I'm afraid that my condition has left me cold to your pleas of mercy. No! All right, everyone. Chill. It's a cold town. Cool party. Can you be cold, Batman? Chilled to perfection. Revenge is a dish best served cold. Winter has come at last. Freeze. Freeze. Ice. Freeze. Icy. Winter fiber. Frozen. Icy. Freeze. Winter ice. Ice. Freeze. Winter. Winter. Freeze. Cold. Frosty.
Without the dinosaurs. The Ice Age. It's just, the puns are incredible. They're so bad, they're brilliant. But at the same time, I truly, truly hate them. I hate every vision they're going for in this movie, especially with Mr. Freeze. Arnie is terribly miscast. And I know that in some versions of the comics, Mr. Freeze looks really ridiculous like this, but I don't care. He looks stupid. He looks awful. There is nothing about this version of Mr. Freeze that works. You can't take him seriously at all. His plan is ridiculous. Also, he's trying to get crystals, throughout this movie, yet his lair, he's surrounded by big crystals. It's like, why don't you just use them? And of course, we have Poison Ivy, who is introduced as well. Uma Thurman. I'm guessing they watched Batman Returns, and she was obviously heavily inspired by Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman, I'm guessing, because it feels very similar in terms of, like, you know, nerdy scientist type person. Oh, her boss sort of tries to have her killed, and then she turns into this supervillain. She becomes really, really sexy, and she starts trying to, like, give Batman some really, you know, kind of hot lines, teasing him a bit. Uma Thurman plays it up so much. I honestly think Michelle Pfeiffer's kind of cringe in Batman Returns. It's one of the weaker bits of that movie for me, personally. even though I don't mind that film. But this is another level, Uma Thurman. And she's a great actress. You know, she was going up for Oscars before this movie, but here... her costume looks ridiculous as well. Bane as well is in this, of course. Bane, yep, he just runs around and screams Bane every now and then, and also looks like a giant toy. Giant toy again. So yeah, that's the thing. And then, you know, of course, also I've got to say, Batman has a credit card in this. There's a bit where he's talking with a Poison Ivy, and I can't remember what he's trying to buy. I think it's a diamond or something, a crystal, that they're using to lure Mr. Freeze somewhere into this circus act fight scene, which looks atrocious. And yeah, he's got a bat card. He's got a bat card. A bat card exists. And on the card it also says forever. Like, its expiry date is forever. I don't know, if you really think about it, does that mean it's permanently expired? Or does that mean it just never expires? You know, I don't even get the point of that, because they're not going to sell a bat card toy. There's not going to be merchandise for a bat card. So a filmmaker or writer hasn't been forced to put that in. They've gone, that will be good. And they've put it in there. A bat card. A bat fucking card. Oh, okay. Poison Ivy, Mr. Freeze, they're going to team up, of course they are. But I just want to point something out. Mr. Freeze's plan is to freeze the entire planet. Poison Ivy's plan is to, but you know, make plants over under planet again, turn it into the film The Happening or Little Shop of Horrors or something. I don't think those two plans can coexist. If the whole world is ice, pretty sure nothing's going to be able to grow, right? So I wonder at what point one of the villains was going to go, actually, I should probably get rid of you as well. Yeah, so yeah, that sort of happens. And then, of course, we get the Batgirl stuff. Alicia Silverstone plays Alfred's her uncle in it, I think. It's not Commissioner Gordon's daughter like it is in the comics. And every other version of Batgirl, I'm pretty sure. And I'm pretty sure the Batgirl film that's going to be coming out next year will be Commissioner Gordon's daughter. So they've changed that. And the thing that cracks me up about this is Alfred's just got a suit ready for her to go. The suit looks terrible as well. We do close-ups and stuff on the bat butt and the bat boobs. And yeah, it's like, I thought this was for kids. Why we were zooming in on the butt and the breast area. So that happens. And then no training. You know, obviously we know Batman's had training. He's Batman. We're guessing Robin's had some training somewhere. I don't know. He was, you know, in Forever, he sort of looked a bit tough anyway, I guess. So he sort of run with it. And she's in high heels. It even does a zoom in on the high heels. So you know she's in high heels. First fight with Poison Ivy. She's kicking Poison Ivy's ass. She's kicking everyone's ass. She's driving these cars all easy peasy. So no training. Nothing. Yeah, Poison Ivy gets beaten first. It's just so, like, gets eaten by the plant from Little Shop of Horrors. Yeah, then they beat Mr. Freeze. And Alfred gets cured by Mr. Freeze's thing, of course, because the film didn't even have the bollocks to kill him off. That's the movie. Other than that, you're accompanied by absolutely terrible effects. There are bits where characters are like, they don't jump off into the air, they sort of just, glide across into the air. Just terrible effects like that. There's a bit where, like, Mr. Freeze was in a ship and Batman and Robin have to jump off the ship and they literally, like, surf down to the planet. To Earth, the planet. So there's things like that just happened in this movie. And as I say, just the dialogue throughout. You've got Mr. Freeze's terrible puns. You've got George Clooney giving off terrible dialogue. And as I said at the start of the video, you know, everyone has these, you know, Christian Bale had that awesome, I'm Batman. And everyone has that. Even Keaton has it, Val Kilmer has it, where they have that moment where they have their really cool, like, I'm Batman. And George Clooney is just, hi, Freeze, I'm Batman. George Clooney is so terribly miscast. He plays Bruce Wayne the exact same way he plays Batman. As soon as someone comes into contact with Batman, they must go, oh my god, you sound just like Bruce Wayne. Everything about this movie is pretty damn trash. The soundtrack's also garbage. Visually, it is, I feel like my eyes get assaulted every time I watch it. I feel like I'm watching a mixture of like a toy commercial and like a bubblegum advert, all sort of just mixed into one. And George Clooney and Arnold Schwarzenegger are there. And I feel sad inside. and yeah, I don't know. I feel like I could be dying every time I watch it, but then the film ends and it's like, oh no. I just need to be sick and let my eyes keep bleeding until they stop. Batman and Robin it's a fucking awful movie. I don't know how anyone can say it's good. I don't like if anyone is really disagree with this one, because I know sometimes I do bad movie reviews and it's like I know people can disagree with this one. This one I don't think people can disagree with. If you do like this movie, please explain to me what you like about it, please. And if you grew up with it, I just don't even think that's an excuse for this one. This one is just so shit. So shit. I'll give it a 1 out of 10. And it's got a 1 because it's a movie. It exists. Somehow they got it made. The actors... I've heard George Clooney apologise for this movie. Yeah, it's bad. Anyway, there we go, guys. Hope you enjoyed. There's another episode of Bad Movie Reviews. It's been a while. We're going to... hopefully we'll do some more again in the future. I do always plan to keep these series going, so there'll be another one at some point. But anyway, thank you so much for tolerating me. Thank you so much for listening to someone talk about this fucking piece of shit again on the internet, because there's enough people that have done it, but hey, I've now shared my 2 cents on it as well. And yeah, I'll see you again for another video, guys. Bye-bye.